I'm author Ari Gasbreck, human Hyrex hybrid. Today, we're going to be talking about Audra Winters again. I thought we were done.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
I thought we were done. I thought there's no way it could get worse. There's absolutely no way this can get worse. She's got this. She's gonna have a PR team. It's gonna be fixed. No one's gonna talk about it anymore because there's gonna be the right people taking care of it. But no, she's still going. I know I said I don't like drama. You guys. So I decided with all this new information, I'm going to do what we can learn from this to not go down this path. Or just someone who enjoys this. It feels like with every fork in the road, she chose the worst possible path. She's going uphill on sharp, pointy, jagged rocks. Hi. Before we get into any of those updates, one comment that I wanted to address in my last video is whether or not she was good at marketing or not. And I'm going to say she's okay. I think she accidentally hit upon something, and I found out which video it was. As we're going to watch it, we're going to talk about it. At the end of the day, the main reason her TikTok audience grew was because she invested a lot of money in ads. I believe in marketing, in sales or ads or something, it's a customer has to see something like 7 times before they actually decide to buy or not. And we definitely saw her videos more than 7 times. So take that how you will. One thing she did do right, investing in art, 10 out of 10 move. She also won a lot of people over when she took that hard stance against generative AI.
So because I did a video on this author and the book Age of Scorpius, of course my feed is like flooded with other creators' takes, and also I've been getting a lot of the author's posts as well. So I believe this is old, but it just came up on my feed and I thought it was interesting for a few points. One, the first being that I think it's crazy that there is a studio team for a book, a debut book, and two, I'm not sure why there are so many artists involved, and also they didn't include the editors in this post, which I think is a weird choice as well, because aren't they part of the studio team, or are they not part of the studio team? I don't know. That's kind of beside the point. My point is, this is the first slide that you go to. Look at this artwork. It is stunning. This is beautiful. It is very, to me, it feels very reminiscent of Hogwarts Legacy-esque, like the artwork that was designed for that video game feels very reminiscent of that. I love this. I think it's beautiful. I think it's stunning. Why not, like, the author and this artist team up and create a gorgeously stunning graphic novel? Like, this would be beautiful. Like, I understand that she's writing a novel, but if you're writing a novel, one, why do you need more than one artist? Why do you need so many artists? What are they actually contributing to the novel? And if it is so important, if the graphics and the illustrations are so important, make a beautiful graphic novel. This would be stunning. It would still be your story. It's still your plot. It's still your characters with this amazing artwork. And, you know, obviously there is a different skill set needed to produce graphic novels. I do think it takes a very skilled author to decide, you know, how to incorporate such minimal text and still create such a rich and detailed story, not just solely relying on the graphics. But honestly, I think I'm definitely not the first person to say this, but I highly agree with everybody saying that this should have been a graphic novel. This is stunning. I would read this. Even the name, The World of Guardian, I think this is stunning font. I think this is beautiful. Do this. This is amazing.
Okay, genius or no, Her marketing clearly worked. Why? Besides paying for ads. You can run an ad all day and nothing will happen. But there was something distinct that she did, especially in one video, that I wanted to talk about because I noticed something. I think I found the video that converted casual viewers into cash-paying superfans overnight before they got their hands on the book. After they got the book is a different story.
Hi, my name is Audra Winter, and you could probably say that I am a storyteller. I worked on my young adult fantasy series about the zodiac signs for 6 years straight. Yeah, 6 years. I had poured my life into the series. I wrote 6 manuscripts between 8th grade and senior year of high school, each over 70,000 words long, rewriting my debut first novel 3 times within 4 years. And if you're curious what it is about, here's my elevator pitch. I literally wrote like I was running out of time. That's 500,000 words. And my dream was an audience and to get my book published. TikTok is single-handedly changing the fate of my writing, like a day after I went viral. With your help, I've been able to reach out to people I would have never been able to reach out to before. And BookTok has the powerful ability to decide what they want to read. So, do you want to read a young adult fantasy novel about the zodiac signs? You should totally spread the word about the age of Scorpius. I'm excited to share it with you soon, and you guys are making this possible. It is the coolest thing ever. My dreams are coming true.
Okay, first thing is doing a voiceover with text. Anytime there is text with movement, the eye gets pulled into the video so the viewer stays there longer to listen to what's actually being said. All throughout, there is going to be movement going one way, up and down, side to side, whatever. And that's just going to maintain eyes on the screen. So that is already a very well-known tactic as to why videos that are ads get seen on TikTok. It's also important to note she spends a lot of time breaking down how long she had been writing to build up credibility. Second, she calls herself a storyteller, the hook that reels in book talk and author talk alike. Do you like reading? Well, I like writing. So with that, she made herself very personable and relatable. Third, she built up credibility throwing down stacks and stacks and stacks of what the viewer assumes are past works and other projects that she was writing, then only mentions when she's holding up the past iteration of the book that she's been working 6 years to fix that book. See, here's where people assumed she was talking about 6 years that her book lived in her mind while she was working on other projects. And probably the most effective of all is she actually brought in videos from other people talking about her book and how she was an overnight success. That actually made her sound like the buzz was already buzzing. They should tell their friends to go buy this book because it's going to sell out. They're not going to get it. So it's more so the fear of missing out because she made it sound like so many people were like just dying to get their hands on her book, which a lot were, to be quite honest. Now, she mentions 6 manuscripts and stressed they were over 70,000 words each. Okay? Why did she say it that way? Because it sounds like she was working hard at building her writing skills separate from this book. And it wasn't that she just restarted whenever she didn't like where her story was going. And when she talks about rewriting her first novel 3 times, we're assuming that that is happening separate from the 6 years that she was working towards fixing her story, her first iteration of the story, which made it sound like those were separate writing projects or something. And it gets fuzzy and unethical in how she boosts her credibility with that. And we also have to talk about the award she won.
Let's talk about that award that she said she got. Look, it's the Silver Key Award, followed by the honorable mention for another book that she said she's an award-winning author from when she was like 14 years old or whatever. And then right here she says that, oh, I'm going to change the Zodiac Turner to the Age of Scorpius so it sounds like a sequel. Because she asked that like numerous times. And here she is up on NaNoWriMo, pasting her stuff so it looks like she completed it. And then she did it again with the Zodiac Turner. It's literally the same story, just literally readjusted. And then she does it in 2020, so she can convince us all that she's like had this book that she's already written that's great. And this is just the United States. Her map is just the United States. And it even has Ohio in it. Look at that. Excited, y'all, excited.
And we can't forget how she boasted that the editor of The Hunger Games worked on Age of Scorpius, which has now suspiciously been scrubbed of all marketing materials and social media posts. And rightly so, because now that editor's reputation is tarnished. But don't get me started about editors, because this is where we get to the new updates. Oh, yes, she got an editor. Oh, she got an editor. Oh, I don't think she got an editor who actually is working currently in the literary world. How do I know that? Because the first thing out of your mouth is you blame the other editors, your peers, people in your inner circle or supposed circle. Those are your peers. You don't knock other people down. But that makes you look bad. Okay, let's also just talk about for a second. Why is an editor doing a Q&A? That's not an editor's job at all. That sounds a lot like a friend pretending to be an editor who's trying to speak up on your behalf. That's what that sounds like. Personally, I feel like that was a trashy thing to do. Oof. Maybe they are an editor, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand. Which, by the way, I was going to take the graphics and we were going to talk about this point by point, but guess what? The day I went to go get this, it's gone. Doesn't exist anymore. I did a search on the web trying to find it from someone else and it's gone. Deleted everywhere.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
And speaking of staying on the page, a lot of people have remarked that the edited pages read like a ghostwriter got involved. I'm not sure how correct that is, but while the prose has gone from purple to literary, one had to ask how she suddenly gained this skill in such a short amount of time, especially if she wasn't able to learn it in 6 years. Rewriting the book or rewriting the book. Handling media relations is not an editor's job. Full stop. That is for a PR or media company to worry about. Does this mean that she hired one of her in-studio artists to moonlight as an editor? It's quite a big possibility. Or did she finally decide she didn't care anymore and she decided to use an AI assistant? I don't know. But blaming the past editors, I mean, what the is all of that? But I could spend all day talking about this. An editor's job is to give possible suggestions and highlight areas the author might want to address before publication. Whether Audra takes a suggestion is 100% all her call. Why? Because if she takes every suggestion, the writing turns into something that no longer has her writer's voice in it. And it kind of becomes the editor's work.
As someone who works as a freelance editor, I just want to weigh in on this Age of Scorpius discourse because I want to say something from my experience that I haven't heard anyone else talking about. Keep in mind, I have not read this book. I also don't know the author. I was only made aware of this from all of the discourse all over my feed. But yeah, the main thing I'm seeing is people accusing the author's editors of being scammers because apparently this book is super poorly edited and full of grammatical errors and run-on sentences and things like this. So this author's been claiming they hired the editor of The Hunger Games and other big industry names to make this book the best that it can be, but the actual reality of the book reads very much like a first draft. So people are saying whoever took their money for this was basically just scamming them. That might be the case. However, I do think it's unlikely. I cannot tell you how many times I've edited people's work and provided very extensive feedback, and even gone as far as to say, I don't think this is ready for publication or submission to agents, whatever they're doing, and the author completely ignores everything I tell them. I had one book that was so bad, I literally told the author, you need to completely rewrite this along such and such lines. And he wrote back to me with, well, how can I get it ready to publish without rewriting it? I was like, sir, you can't. That's the point. I don't think it's ready. And he was like, well, are there any minor tweaks I could do to get it there? And I'm like, well, you could do these small things, but like there's some serious inconsistencies with like, the overall plot and character arc and some diabolical pacing problems. So like if you put this out, it's not going to be received as a good book. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, but they asked, so I'm honest. You're paying for my critique, so there it is. And he completely disregarded me and published it like 2 weeks later. This happens way more times than you would think. So all that to say, again, I don't know the inner workings of this controversy, but I would say with confidence, it very well may not be the editor's problem. I think it's more common than not with inexperienced authors. They know they need to hire an editor, but they're kind of just looking for a stamp of approval. They don't actually want to change anything because they're attached to their work the way it is. And of course, at the end of the day, editorial feedback is just suggestion. You don't have to take it. So a lot of people don't. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's what happened here.
But yay! She revised 2 chapters, guys. 2 chapters. Yay! Progress! That would have been better to do before people got their hands on physical copies. There's a lot that went wrong this year, so it's kind of small in comparison, don't you think? Yeah? As a writer, it is imperative to, well, write. And writing is rewriting. The first draft is so that your story exists. My novel Bloody Flesh and Deadly Shadows, only going to mention it once in this video, I swear to God. It had 3 full developmental edits over 7 years. When I say that, I mean it was a complete teardown job. Gutted. Everything that didn't work went away. And each time I rewrote from scratch, effectively writing the equivalent of 3 extra novels to write 1 novel. Then I spent 3 years revising because I was still learning how to finish a book and get it to publication while working a 9-to-5 job.
Your job as a writer right now, if you have not finished at least 3 novels, if you haven't done, that many, that's not where you are. Your job is not to sell books. Your job is to write enough books to learn your process and what works for you. Once in a while, there's a stupid Pat Rothfuss who writes a brilliant book their first time. And then revises it a ton, because he did. Harry Potter was the first book, Twilight was the first book, Name of the Wind was the first book. Launchers was my 6th, Mistborn was my 14th. I find a lot more of those than I find of your first book, and most of the people I know whose first book got published kind of wish that they had then written several more books before they published it, so that when they published that first book, they already knew their style, so that when the weight of deadlines hit them, they already were practiced at consistently writing.
And she calls herself an entrepreneur instead of an author. Tell me how this isn't a red flag.
I mean, I'm just curious, was this done on purpose? Was she trying to look like Elizabeth Holmes, or was this just an accident? Because the similarities between the two is kind of daunting. Elizabeth Holmes lied and said that she had this amazing blood test machine. Audra Winter lied and said she had this amazing work product. Elizabeth Holmes released a product that didn't work. Audra Winter released a product that didn't work. Audra Winter is the independent bookseller version of Elizabeth Holmes. And the makeup is kind of similar. The hair isn't, blondes. Fine, Audra doesn't have a turtleneck, but the black, it's a choice. It was definitely a choice.
Now, I didn't want to call her a scammer. I didn't want to call her a scammer simply because she wrote a book and some people didn't like it. I wanted and needed proof that her intentions were not good. The more she pulls focus from writing makes me think she simply wanted to put a product out there to validate founding her media company. And that conclusion hurts my heart because I wanted to believe her so bad. So bad. Especially regardless of her writing skill. If she put something out that was bad, hey, she still had the guts to put something out there. That's what I wanted to believe in. Even if she failed, she still did it. However, the more facts that pop up, that hope is dying an inferno of flames. Now she's asking people who purchased the first version of her book to have to pay even more just to get what they were promised the first time.
The Age of Scorpius team has struck again, not 8 hours after I made my initial post this morning. Hey folks, we're rolling out a $2 tier and some fancy names, Star for $2 and Moon for $5. This new tier will have complete access to the Tuesday writing updates. Don't worry, there will still be a free section to the update for everyone to see. However, we'll be reserving the juiciest bits for the $2 patrons. If you're really interested in the revision process and would like to help keep us afloat during a slow sales period at the end of our book stock, consider signing up. World building and art process posts are still reserved for the $5 patrons. Thanks, everyone!
I just... On top of that, her and her team are deleting any criticism, constructive, otherwise, comments, unhappy customers who already paid for the book and are unhappy.
I was hoping for a second chapter of Audra Winter's book, Age of Scorpius. What we got was a comment policy update. We will now be deleting any comments with unsolicited advice or critique. If someone repeatedly violates this rule, they will be banned. Is going to create an echo chamber of yes men for her Patreon, because just a paragraph above it, it says, "We are a team of professionals and we have a specific creative vision to pursue. When we're ready for outside feedback on the revised edition, we will recruit beta readers. Rest assured that this Patreon will be one of those places we source such readers from when that time comes. And if the only people you want in your Patreon are yes men, then you're not gonna have a very mixed pool of beta readers to give you honest feedback." It literally goes on to say, "But this is going to be a space for discussion, questions, and appreciation, not critical feedback."
Well, anyway, before I give my final hoorah, here's some other things I found on TikTok that I think are very important.
Audra Winters, please, please, I beg of you, hire someone with media training. Hire a PR person, any PR person. Because I really, really don't want to hate on Audra Winters. I don't want to add on to the hate train. I feel a lot of sympathy for her, but my sympathy is waning because she's handling this abysmally. The weekly Q&As are one thing. I personally wouldn't do them, but whatever. But blaming the previous editors, and then after getting pushback for blaming the previous editors, basically saying that they are no longer accepting feedback from the wider audience. Anyone with media training at all. I know that the hate can be hard to handle. I get it. I'm a creator. I've gotten hate before. It sucks. But this, having seen people going down this route before, I've just seen the mistakes. I see the mistakes. This is going to end very badly. It's not going to go the way she thinks it is.
Okay, so hear me out. I have this theory that Audra has never ever, in the history of ever, actually rewrote her book from front to back like she says. Let me show you guys something. I actually make two videos on my YouTubes about this. I'm going to show you the one thing I'm talking about. In this old time here, it's like 2021. It's called the Zodiac Turn. This book, done in 2017. Right here, it says that her book is retrofitted. See how the romantic interest is Chase Wendell? That's the guy in the book that she is with the entire book. Nara was an aftermath. This character is a Wasian character, too. You guys didn't notice that. A young Scorpio. Check my YouTube channel for more.
Before I even try to reason with the internet and try to frame this in a way that made it easier for her because she was a debut author, or we thought she was a debut author, that's changed, obviously. I don't feel that way anymore. I wanted to give this girl a chance. I wanted to believe she was like myself and other indie authors that were out there. I wanted this with every fiber of my being. I realized she isn't one of us. She wanted something different than indie authors or any author. That's why she calls herself an entrepreneur and not an author. Can you believe she's looking for angel investors?
Welcome back. Bet you didn't expect to see me so soon. This is a posting from angelinvestor.us or something. It's a like Kickstarter-esque platform, but specifically for people looking for angel investors to invest a large amount of money, I assume. And this is a post from the World of Guardian on this website. So let's break this down. The synopsis says, a multimedia literature-driven creative studio and publishing imprint, interesting, with a team of 20 plus illustrators, musicians, animators, and editors. Interesting that all of those came before editors. And designers aiming to bring fantasy stories to life by merging the publishing and art industries. Okay. Here is their selling points. They made $200,000 from April to July solely on the pre-order of 7,800 sold products through the TikTok shop in a way that we all at this point assume is breaking TOS, but okay. Thousands of people are watching us and awaiting our next project. That is not why we're all watching you, bestie. No. Experienced team of creatives fighting for independence in the arts. That much may be true. The other people on your team, I don't believe that's why Audra's in this at this point. They are asking for $10,000 per investor and a total of $70,000. So they're looking for at least 7 investors to invest $10,000 a piece. This is crazy. I also have to highlight specifically that when you click on this and go further into the pitch, you also see that they have listed, quote, setting the path for a new literature-based genre of art consumption as one of their objectives. And I have something to say about that specifically. So in her big, poetic, sweeping, dramatic update video from a couple of weeks ago, Audra mentioned that she was setting the path for a new form of artistic literature. And I just have to point something out. You are not. Artistic novels already exist, and I have an example. This is from my library. It is Hio and the Hellmaker by Mina Ikemoto Ghosh, and it is an artistic novel that is published. This came out actually a couple of months ago, and what Audra is claiming that she is groundbreaking and setting the path for already exists. It's already a thing, honey. And this is not the only example, like by far, absolutely not the only example, just one that I had on hand. So yeah, stop trying to set yourself up to be some literary genius, trailblazer. That's not what you are. And it's admirable that this is what you want to do, if it actually is, because at this point I think it's just about the money. But don't step on the shoulders of other figures in the literary community and claim that you are doing it first. You're not. And at this point I really have an issue. It is very upsetting to me, like very frustrating to me. And I'm going to keep calling it out. Sorry, not sorry.
Isn't that funny? So here she is rephrasing this massive failure to sound as if she was successful because her behavior is causing serious distrust with the consumer. Good luck on finding your funding once they Google this entire scenario. Okay, existing in the artistic sphere means you are releasing your work out into the world and it will be perceived by others. Got that? I learned this principle in art school. Say you paint a painting. You hang it on a wall. Invite strangers to come and observe your work. Great. You cannot tell them how they are supposed to perceive the colors and how they should feel or react to the subject matter. When an artist makes art in any medium, including writing, once we share it with the world, we can no longer hold ownership of how it makes others feel. My long-winded explanation that people not liking your work or having criticism is about the person perceiving it, not you personally. I made it a point not to talk down any other author on purpose. Other writers are my colleagues, and it isn't good to talk crap about fellow co-workers. However, it is my duty to call out my fellow colleagues when they are ruining things for the rest of us. Indie authors are against the wall when it comes to getting our books in the hands of our readers. There's enough stigma. Some trad publishers have started about the lack of quality in indie authors' work. So my conclusion on this entire matter that I was uncomfortable with thinking even possibly 2 weeks ago. Wow, 2 weeks. Lots happened in 2 weeks, hasn't it? We don't need one person to topple this house of cards that is just starting to give traditional publishing a run for its money. So, my verdict is scam. Scam. If anything, it is because all of this focus on the dollars coming in instead of focusing about her readers. She's not worried about what her readers want or need. She's focused on what she needs. That's where the problem is. Okay, indie authors are indie because we care about our fans. We care about people who are... We care about our readers. That's the thing. Our readers, that's who we're doing it all for. There are a lot of indie authors who are still working a 9-to-5 job because they care so much about their readers and their people, the small little community that they create. They work tirelessly. I have a lot of them as friends, as a matter of fact. A lot of them. And it's just, if she really cared, none of this would have happened. She's showing her hand. She is focused on the business aspect of it, not the art. I like that she's investing in artists and trying to not do the generative AI thing, and I'm very, very, very happy she's doing that. But why not just make this a graphic novel, as others have said? Why? Because she knows that Book Talk is going to want this type of story. I can go on and on and on, and I don't want to anymore. I don't want to anymore. Because I want this to be done. If you haven't and you want to, subscribe, like, do whatever. I'm going to be here posting videos no matter what. Whether I have viewers, subscribers, or whatever, I don't care. I know if I can help one other person out there, then that means that I'm gonna make it, because I will have helped that one person. So hopefully you guys keep watching my videos or not. I don't plan on having these dramatic buzz subjects regularly on my channel, so if you guys want to know more, great. If not, great. Just let's learn from this and not do this ever again. Okay? No one should do this to their fan base. Period. If it's bad, it's bad. People don't like it. People don't like it. The point is, there were people that still liked it. She should have focused on those people. Anyway, again, I could keep talking about it, but I won't. So,